if this is your first time of seeing my face, my name is Sneh. I'm in my 20s, and on this channel I kind of talk to young adults about how to make money, how to save money, how to invest money. So basically the things that have worked out for me, the things that did not work out, the things that I made a mistake on, stumbled and learned from. So in this channel I talk about all of that. Today's video I am going to be talking about how I increased my credit score from 585 to like 720, like 724, depending. It can be 724 on FICO, and it was like 758 on TransUnion, and I think it was 737 on Experience. So basically from the 500s to the 700. So this is going to kind of be a story time, because I'm going to tell you guys how my credit score went, like, because it used to be in the 600s and then it went all the way down to like 585, and then I was able to raise it back. But for those that are impatient and want to know the exact things I did, the three things I did was, of course, I paid my credit payments on time. The next thing I did was I was able to remove a delinquent account from my credit report. And then the third thing I did was that I was able to increase my credit limit. So those were the three things that I did that worked for me, that made my credit score increase. Like, I got my first credit card, I think in 2018. Either 2018 or 2019, I'm not sure the exact, but it hasn't been very long. It's been like 4 years that I got my oldest credit card. I got it when I was in school. And you know, I was paying on time. I was doing everything I was supposed to do on time. I will, you know, spend $50, pay it back and everything, right? And my score then was like in 710, 715. It was just fluctuating by 2, 3, 4, 5 points, which was not bad, right? Then in 2020, I finished school. I believe it was like around June. My credit score then was, I think it was 690 something, either 690 something or 680 something. And you know, I paid everything I was supposed to pay. This was last year in 2021. I paid what I was supposed to pay, and my next report came in and my credit score had gone down. It had gone down by like 50 points. I was like, Jesus, what happened? Like, it went from like 690 something and then went down to like, I believe 650 or so. Like, it just went down. I was confused because I was paying the way I was supposed to pay, right? So I was like, okay, like, what am I doing wrong? But then I felt, okay, you know, because I never really took time to learn how credit card work or how credit score worked. All I knew was I had to pay on time and make sure I wasn't carrying anything over into the next month. But I didn't really know all of the details that goes into it. So what I thought was, okay, maybe something happened. Maybe it was like a mistake on their side or whatever. Next month too, my credit score went down again. And this time it went down and it was like, I think 620 something. I was getting worried, but the thing is, I was paying on time. I didn't know what was happening. Like, I didn't know why it was going down. No one ever told me, hey, your credit score might be going down because of this or that. I mean, I looked online and it was also saying something like, oh, you might be owing this account, you might be owing that account, but I wasn't owing anything on my credit score. I'm not very sure the exact month. I think I want to say around October or thereabout. It went all the way down to like 583, and I cried. Like, I remember how I cried that day. I cried. I didn't know what was happening. I was like, why is my credit going down this much? At this point I had two credit cards, right? I had Discover credit card, and I had my bank, US Bank, had given me a credit card. So it was like a bank credit card, a Visa bank credit card. So I had those two credit cards. I wasn't owing anything there. So I was checking, and then after I checked and checked and checked, and what you need to understand is no one ever taught me anything about, you know, financial independence or what to do about your credit score or this or that. So everything I was just doing was just Googling. So I think it was like sometime in November, because I still couldn't figure out what was happening, right? I think it was like sometime in November that I then checked. I was looking at my bank app, my US Bank app, and for some reason, I don't know what happened that day. Normally, I'll just check my app, check how much is in my bank account. But that day, I was just exploring. Like, I was just like looking at the different features on the app, right? I was just scrolling and looking at like the different options. And then I saw something that was, I think it was like statements. I can't remember what it was, but I'm going to show it to you somewhere here. And then I clicked on it. I clicked on that option, and it was like, view your credit score. And then I checked, and it was still the same thing. Like, it was still the 585 thereabouts. But then it said, like, view the reason why, like, it was like, view why your credit score went down, something like that. That wasn't the exact grammar there, but you guys get my gist. So I looked there, and then it said, you have delinquent delinquent accounts on your credit report. I was like, what? Delinquent accounts? What is that? So I looked at what the delinquent account was, and it said Berea College, Berea College, Berea College. For those of you that don't know, if you know my other channel, of course, you know that I attended Berea College. And Berea College is a free tuition school. So it said you're owing Berea College. I was like, that is not true. First of all, I got a scholarship to go to school. Granted, when you're in Berea, if you're like an international student, even when they give you a scholarship, you're working in the school, so you have to pay taxes. So that's kind of like the only thing you pay in Berea as an international student, right? So I'm looking at that, and it's like you're owing Berea. Another thing with Berea is, I don't know if your schools do it, but another thing with Berea is you are not able to get your diploma until you're finished paying everything, right? And I had already gotten my diploma. You guys remember this happened last year, 2021. I graduated December 2020, and I had gotten my diploma and all the things that I needed from the school. So I was like, no, if you're owing, you're not gonna be able to get your diploma from the school. So, but the thing was, now, sometime in, I believe it was maybe September, thereabout last year, ECSI had sent me a mail, and they said, you're owing student loans, Berea College. So when I saw that, I looked up what is ECSI, and then it was like some student loan collector, something. So I thought it was a scam, because remember, like I mentioned, Berea is free tuition college. So I looked at the letter and I was like, who are you guys trying to scam? Like, it's not me, right? Like, you're not going to get a kobo from me. You're not going to get $1 from me. So I left that, right? So apparently the delinquent account had registered 3 times. The first time it was like 30 days overdue. I think it was $60 that I was supposed to pay. Then after $60, it was like 120 days overdue. And then it increased from $60 to, I think, 120 actually. And then it was 90 days overdue. And then it increased from 120 to, I think, $140 thereabouts, right? Coincidentally, this same period, like it was also that same week that I needed my transcript, because there was some application that I was doing that needed my transcript. So I called Berea, because to request for your transcript is like $2, and you have to request for it from Berea, and they have to like mail it to whoever you want it to go to, right? So I called Berea, and they were like, oh, we can't give you your transcript. I was so confused. I was like, what? And they said, you're owing. I was like, no, that's not possible. Like, I paid everything in December. And they said, no, you're owing $140. So I was like, okay, you know what? Let me just pay it, because I need my transcript. Like, $140. At this point, I was already working full time. So $114 by God's grace wasn't like that big of a deal to me, right? So I just gave them my card, paid the money. But it was when Berea said that I was owing that it clicked in my head that, wait, this is the same payment that is coming in my credit report, which is now recorded as a delinquent account. I was like, oh my God, like, what did I do? Like, what is this? How come Berea, never told me? And then I remembered the letter that I had gotten from ECSI, and then I was thinking, wait, that's not a scam actually. So that's actually like a real letter. But the thing is, Berea never like contacted me straight and said, hey, you're owing. It was just like they just gave my reports to the loan collector, student loan, ECSI, whatever. After that happened, I realized, okay, my credit score is 585 right now. By God's grace, then I had already gotten my apartment. When I got my apartment, that was when my credit score was still good. It was like in 690 something, so it was still good then. But if I hadn't gotten my apartment, I probably would have been out on the streets or something, because I had a very bad credit score. I started looking up on YouTube how to increase your credit score. Everything everyone was saying was just, pay on time, pay on time. But then I then saw how to remove a delinquent account from your credit report, right? And I watched so many videos, and they were all saying like, write to the credit bureaus, tell them, oh, you've been paying on time. The reason why you didn't pay on time was maybe because of some financial whatever, this and this happened, that and that happened. And then they were also saying that you have to keep writing and writing to them, because the first time you write to them, it might not even go to the person it is supposed to go to. Like, you're supposed to write to different departments, keep bothering them with your letters, and the letters have to be handwritten, because they want to see, they want to see your personality or your human form, instead of typed. Like, they want the letter to be personalized. Ha! I was like, Jesus Christ, what is this? Like, so I need to be writing letters now? And then they said, before you write the letters, make sure you have like paid off whatever it is. I mean, at this point, I had paid off, of course, because I couldn't even get my transcript without paying the $140 to be real, right? After thinking about this, I was like, I don't even know, like, I don't know where to start. What I then did was, from like December, after I had figured out, okay, this was what happened, this was December 2021, I was like, okay, no problem. I started like, my credit card, I had been paying it on time, but at this time, like, instead of maybe having, if I was owing 400, instead of maybe paying just the minimum payment, I was paying off everything in full. Like, I did not care. I was just paying off every single thing in full. This was what my plan was. My plan was to start writing the letters around March or April, right? But I wanted to like improve my credit score a little bit before I could start writing the letters. I actually pulled up my FICO score so I can show you guys. So in November, it wasn't even 585. In November, it was actually 579. In December, it was also 579. In January, at that point, I had figured out, okay, this is what happened. This is why my credit score went down. I was just paying off everything in full. It increased to 585. In February, it increased to 604. In March, it went back down to 595. I was so confused because I was paying off everything. In April, it increased to 604. By May, I had like paid off everything, right? At this point, I had really like brought it up a little bit. So my plan was to kind of like start writing letters to the credit bureaus. And from what I had read and what I had seen on YouTube, they said you have to write the letters for at least up to 6 months before you even hear a reply or whatever, right? But what I had done during this period, which I did not realize, was increasing my credit score till like, you know, I went back and started doing my research. What I had done was I had applied for another credit card, right? So remember, I had 2 credit cards. My one credit card was Discover. I had 4K there. The other one was US Bank. I had 4K there, but then US Bank increased my credit limit from 4K to 85. So I didn't really ask for a credit limit. They actually did this by themselves, and I think it's because they saw I had like started my full-time job and then I was making money, so they were like, maybe they probably were like, okay, this person can pay. So they increased it to 8,500. The next thing that happened was around August, I applied for another credit card. I applied for a Capital One credit card, right? When I applied for a credit card, I didn't even know they were gonna give it to me because honestly, like, I had applied for Capital One credit card like I think last year, and they rejected me. So I was like, yeah. The reason why I applied for it was because I wanted to make a huge purchase. I was going to buy my camera, and I already, like, you know, when you spend 500 you get 200 back kind of thing. I already know I was gonna make like a huge purchase, so I might as well, you know, get a credit card and pay it off with that, right? So that was what I did, and I was really surprised that they gave me the credit card because, like I mentioned, I had applied before and they refused me. So they gave that to me, right? And then when they gave that to me, my credit score improved again and went to, so it had reduced back to 629 and then improved again to 635, right? So after it improved to 635, these then were kind of like the things that I did, like within a space of 1 month, right? These were the things that I did even after applying to Capital One. I applied for, I was going to get stuff from Amazon. Amazon said if you get Amazon credit card, we'll give you $100 Amazon gift card. Now, what I was thinking was that this Amazon gift card is only going to, this Amazon credit card is only going to be used in Amazon store. I never really thought of it as like a universal card that they were going to give me, like, you know, MasterCard or a Visa card, right? So I applied for it because honestly what I was thinking they were going to give me was maybe like at the very most $1,000, because remember, like, I thought it was just an Amazon credit card. I applied, they approved me, and guess how much these people gave me? $6,000. Yes, $6,000. I was like, what? So they gave me $6,000, and then when the card came, I saw the reason why they gave me $6,000 because it was actually a Visa card. It was a card that you can use anywhere. It's not just for like the Amazon store. So I was like, oh wow, that's, you know, quite interesting. That was then when I called I called Berea and I was like, "Hey, you guys remember how Berea caused my credit score to go down?" Now, something else I forgot to tell you guys was sometime in after I had paid $140 to Berea last year, November, December, sometime in I believe it was March, I looked at my account again and I saw the $140 had been refunded back to me from Berea. Apparently, it was some kind of mistake in their system or whatever, and I wasn't even owing anything at all. So, like, my credit score wasn't even supposed to go down. I was very upset when that happened because I was like, well, you guys messed up my credit score, and the problem was even from you guys. So, around August, September, I called Berea and I was like, hey, you guys said I was owing, but I wasn't owing, and you guys messed up my credit score. They were like, the person on the line, she was rude. She was like, well, you're not owing anything here. And I'm like, I know I'm not owing anything. I know my account is a zero right now, but you guys said I was owing something. You guys took me to ECSI and ECSI reported me to the credit bureaus, and now my credit score is messed up. She was like, well, like I told you, you're not owing anything here. I'm like, girl, like, don't give me that attitude. Like, please don't do that. Like, the fault is from you guys. I know you're probably like a student who is handling the account, but don't give me that attitude. So she was like, oh, well, you have to call ECSI. But she told me that ECSI, like whatever ECSI is seeing in their system is what Berea is seeing. So even if I called ECSI, like there's no guarantee because it says zero. It says that I was like owing $0. So I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. So I called ECSI. And ECSI said the same thing. It was like, oh, you're not owing anything. I'm like, I know I'm not owing anything, but you guys messed me up. You took my score, you took my reports to the credit bureaus, and the credit bureaus said like I had a delinquent account. The 3 delinquent accounts that were reported were all Berea, and it was all the $140. So you guys messed me up. And they're like, well, there's nothing we can do. We only give the reports of what is given to us. I'm like, well, you guys could have maybe investigated more. Hello? Like, it's my life here that you're destroying. I mean, if I had a 585 credit score, I wouldn't be able to do anything. I wouldn't be able to like get a car, an apartment. Maybe I could if they see like, you know, you're making a good salary, but they will increase your interest rates. So they were like, well, you have to call the credit bureaus. And I was like, okay, which one should I call? They said you have to call any of them. And I was like, okay, whatever. So I called Experian, right? That call lasted at least 2 hours because I kept explaining. Because honestly, I could have just gone ahead to write the letter. But at this point, I was so impatient and I was so upset because like my credit score had been messed up for a fault that wasn't mine. And you know, these people kept telling me, oh, if I tell Berea, it's like you have to call ECSI. I tell ECSI, they're like, you have to call these people. So at that point, I was really pissed. Like that day, I was making calls the whole day. So when I called Experian told me, yes, you can write a letter, or you can write, so like you can open an account with Experian, make like a dispute and check the progress of the dispute. I said, no, I'm gonna be on the call. I will be on the call right now, and I want you to open the dispute for me. So the guy opened the dispute. He asked me, which ones are you disputing? So I said the 3 accounts. Technically, it was like 1 delinquent account, but since Berea had reported it like for 3 months, they reported it when it was like 30 days overdue, 60 days overdue, and 90 days overdue, I believe. It kind of read like it was 3 delinquent accounts, even though it was actually like 1 delinquent account. The person asked, which ones are you disputing? I'm like, the 3 of them. All of them that said it's from Berea, because that's the only delinquent accounts that I had, right? He was like, okay, what is your dispute about? I told him, well, Berea is a free tuition college, so you're not even going to owe anything. But now, since international students pay taxes, you can owe your taxes. But I had already graduated. I've gotten my diploma. There was nowhere I was gonna owe. The mistake was from Berea. Like, I told him everything. He was like, well, you have to repeat it again. I think I repeated it like maybe 4 times. Guys, I'm telling you, I just got annoyed. I was tired, but I was just trying to keep my cool, because that whole day, from calling Berea, ECSI, and the credit bureau Experian, I had spent, I think, up to 4 hours or 5 hours on call. So, you know, after that, he was like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to make the dispute. We're gonna have to investigate. We're going to have to call. So they said they would call Berea to know if I was actually telling the truth. I said, yeah, sure, you guys can go ahead and call Berea. So after that, I got the Amazon credit card. That actually happened after I had called those people. Then after I had done this, as I mentioned to you guys, I had also gotten the Amazon, right? So I think it was ending of October, because I did the disputes. I can't remember the date I did the dispute. I'm going to put it there, right? I'm going to put it on the screen. I did the dispute, and then I believe it was like ending of October, because what I had done was I had started monitoring my credits, right? I had started monitoring my credit reports. After I had opened so in my US bank, you could be able to see like the credit score there and see what was affecting it. So what I had done was like I was always checking it to make sure. And then I received a credit report from TransUnion, and it was like, your credit score increased by more than 65 points, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my God, I think they've removed this. So I went and I saw that the Capital One credit card that I had gotten, it increased my credit limits. The Visa credit card that I had gotten increased my credit limit. And then they had also removed the delinquent account. So apparently they had called Berea, investigated and saw that I was telling the truth, and they also removed the delinquent account. So guys, like it went, I'm going to put it here for you guys. That was how my credit score was increased. Then what I did after this was I went back to see like how different factors affect my credit card, right? So let me show you guys. So this one is TransUnion. TransUnion, it says 758 increased by 65 points. If you guys check, you can see on October 31st, 2022, your credit score increased by 85 points. One delinquent account is no longer on your credit report. On-time payments went from 98% to 100%. So after the delinquent account had been removed, of course, it then showed that I was now paying, like all my payments were all on time, because the delinquent account had caused my payment to go down. And then the total debt is now from $144 to $0. So that's the $144 that Berea said I was owing them. And then one of your accounts is no longer considered new. Yeah, I'm not sure which one this is, but yeah, one of my accounts is no longer considered new. So guys, the lesson that I learned from this is that, like, if your credit score is reducing, don't think, oh, maybe it's because of this or maybe it's because of... Investigate, check, go and check, because I feel like if I started investigating earlier, I wouldn't have, like, after it had gone down for the first 30 days, I wouldn't have relaxed. I would have like found out what was happening, why my credit score had gone down significantly. I'm not talking about only like 5 points decrease or something. No, significantly by about 50 points. So if your credit score reduces, find out why it reduced, right? The second thing I would say is also, if you have a delinquent account, try to dispute it or figure out like a way you can dispute it, because what I've realized is that delinquent account has actually a very, very significant impact. Like if you take away a delinquent account from your credit report, it can improve your score by at least 60 points, 60 to 100 points. So right? Guys, the next thing I also learned was kind of like the score factors, what affects your credit score, the reason why your credit score is affected. And you can see payment history is 40%. So if you've been having like payment history that is not good, that is going to really affect your credit. Credit history, 21%. Credit usage is 20%. Total balances is 11%. Credit check is 5%. Available credit is 3%. So these are the things that kind of like affect your credit score. So, but yeah, guys, that's the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope it's helpful to someone out there. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and I will see you guys in another video.